Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk cameras. So if you want to learn a little more about the cameras I'm putting on my bike, stick around. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so I'm going to do the INNOVV K5 front and rear dash cam. And a lot of people, why do you need all this stuff? Well, I like to record some of the stuff that I ride with. I don't know that I want to do a bunch of moto vlogs or anything like that, but I do have that capability. But for the upcoming IBR, I want to be able to film some of the stuff that we do. Yeah, I could do a GoPro. I have actually a bunch of those, but those are just a little more difficult to hold, to pull out when you want, make sure the battery's charged, all those things. These INNOVV cameras, always powered up, record all the time. It just records on a loop. So I think it's going to be a good option. So let's take a look at what I got. So this is the brains of it. This is what I call the DVR. Everything connects to it. These connections are very simple and they're color coded and they're very specific. You cannot install the wrong one in the wrong spot. The front camera, I want to try to put right in here. And notice how short these leads are. The way they designed this is where all the wiring is going to be. So I have a remote, I have a microphone, here I have the rear camera, it's going to go over here. I have the GPS unit and then the power unit. So I had to run the power and everything from here, all these lines all the way up through here and then into here. So all of these connections are going to get connected to that box and then stashed and stuffed in here. The guys on crotch rockets, you might struggle with a place to hide all that. I think I'm going to put my remote somewhere in here. It's what I'm thinking. Well, I've got the bike apart. I'm going to do a new air filter, do some cleaning and get it ready. I'm going to bleed the brakes, flush a brake fluid system and just some pre-rally maintenance stuff and get that done. So, yeah, just want to be able to film some stuff. INNOVV has an app, so I downloaded the app from my iPad, so I'll be able to control it all from up here. So I think that's pretty good. All right, getting it buttoned back up. Got the front camera mounted around the back. I mounted this a little differently than what I thought. Once I get everything turned on, powered on, I'll make sure I get everything aligned. Now I'm working on the power. So running a PDM is pretty simple. Just tap into the black power and then wherever you put the fuse, it's either hot all the time or over here they're hot off the key. So that be pretty simple. Get that done and then wire in a trigger wire. So getting the cameras back together. That's a wrap. It's all back together. Everything works just fine. Front camera. I did have to turn this one because it had a crazy angle, but from the app I can go front camera only and it sees that. I can go rear camera only, or you can have front and rear. You can also change it to have rear and front, so the rear would be bigger. So again, with this being on the iPad, it'll be up front, and I can change that as we go. Have to learn the remote, but it puts the remote right there. So yeah. As far as the install, honestly, pretty basic, pretty simple. The connections, like I said, are no-brainers. You can't get them wrong. Didn't take but a couple hours. I did change where I thought I was going to mount the front camera, just because of how I was going to mount it, things like that. But pretty simple, pretty basic. Now we'll see what the recording looks like. Tomorrow I got to finish up a little bit of bike maintenance. Gonna flush brake fluid and all those things to get it ready for the IBR. Alright, so hope you learned something about some cameras. We'll check them out. Alright, I appreciate you watching. Have a great day. Be safe. Okay, so I did my first run with the cameras, and from the app you can see what it's filming. It looks like it's filming great, and it was pretty simple to operate. The directions really are a little lacking. You got to kind of figure things out for yourself. There's a button on the remote. Let me show you that. That button. So I wasn't sure. I thought that was like a stop and start record. It's actually, it saves it and puts it into a protected file. So if something happens, like a deer strike did me today, if you hit that button, it saves it into a different file. So yep, I hit a deer today, first shot out with the cameras, and when I got home, I've got the INNOVV app on my iPad, so I was trying to download the videos from the camera to the iPad, then the iPad to my MacBook, and I really kind of struggled. I was able to find the video where I hit the deer, and I was struggling with it because they're in like 1-minute clips, so there's a ton of video. I then just pulled the SD card out of the DVR, threw it in my laptop, and it was super simple. So I think if I found that I needed to save something, that's what I would do. You can just re-record over everything as you go along, and that's fine. I'm running a 512 SD card in there, so I've got a big SD card. That's what they recommend. But when it comes to video, it was just easier to pull the SD card out and do it on a computer. And it really didn't like my MacBook. I threw it in my work computer, which is just a Windows, and it worked very well. So I will tell you that the cameras worked well. They're very clear. The microphones seem to work pretty good. You can hear a lot of wind noise, but you can hear the motor. There's some of that stuff. So yeah, highly recommend the cameras. Highly suggest you not hit a deer first day out. No damage other than a cup holder. And I've got a Yeti cup that's bounced down the interstate twice now. So I think it's either my lucky cup or unlucky cup. I'm not sure. So anyway, that's some info on the cameras. I appreciate you watching. Have a great day. Be safe.